Better with it or without it? With it or without it? With it, okay. Is that all right? Right there? Good evening. I've had 3 businesses over the last 15 years. The first business went out of business. The second business, I was kicked out by my 2 partners about 2 weeks before my first son was born. And the third business, which I actually started 2 weeks after my first son was born, fortunately, in July of 1999, I was able to sell that business. I was able to pay back the bank the $1.3 million I owed them. And my wife tells me I got her back just about the same time. I didn't always think my life turned out this way. My mother told me, in fact, my mother promised me that every year in my career I'd get promoted, every year I'd make more money. Who here still has that same fantasy? What my life turned out to be was probably like yours, a series of ups and downs, a series of good times and bad times. And that's the first skill we need to have if we're going to be successful as entrepreneurs, and that's the skill of resiliency. How do you pause and celebrate the good times, and how do you transition through some more of the difficult times? Now, there isn't that many jobs out there these days, so a lot of people are going off and they want to start their own business, right? And a lot of folks come up to me and they say, Barry, I want to start my own business because I want to make a boatload of money. I tell them, if you want to make a lot of money next couple of years, you ought to find yourself a job. Because you can actually make more money in the first couple of years working for yourself than working for somebody else. The only reason, and we all know this, you should start and run your own business is because you have passion, right? Because deep down inside, you want to see your ideas succeed and you're willing to let your ideas fail. Now let's face it, the number one reason why most people start their own business in this country is because they hate their boss. Who here actually hates their boss? Raise your hand. Don't raise your hand if your boss is here, okay? It's probably not a good career move. Who knows someone that hates their boss? You know, when I left IBM after 10 years in 1990, I actually left because I hated my boss. I won't tell you his name. All right, George DeRoe. You see, he used to have sales contests where first... Are these 2 things interfering? Can we turn this down just a little bit and I can start the joke over?
Actually, if you back up a little bit, it might be a little bit better.
Because of the speakers. Okay. Did you want me to start over? I've had 3 businesses over the last 15 years. Where was I? I was talking about my old boss, George DeRoe. How far do I have to move back? I once fell off the back of the stage. How's this? Is this okay, maybe? Brad, what do you think?
I'm trying to turn you down, but
You're not the technology guy, I assume. You buy that stuff. You don't... Can we turn this down just a little bit? She went to go turn it down. Okay. All right, so we'll keep it down here, right now, right? So, all right, we're talking about George DeRoe, right? So I actually left IBM because I didn't like my boss, George DeRoe. You see, he used to have sales contests where first prize was lunch with him. Sound familiar? I used to say, George, what's second prize? 2 lunches with you? But you know, when you have your own business, you actually have more bosses, right? Your customers become your boss. Your vendors become your boss. Your employees become your boss. And what it feels like having your own business is you're in this tiny little car, which is your business. All those bosses are crowding there with you. I'm not really good at sharing the stage, so I think we're good, right? I can start over. I've had 3 businesses. Are we good now? He's coming to fix it? Okay. Try that. Oh, that's much better. Nice. Now, did you hear what I said the first 10 minutes or not? You were good, all right? So where were we? We were talking about George Zarell, right? So you know that when you have your own business, you actually have more bosses, right? You have all your customers, your employees, your boss, and what it feels like is you're in this tiny little car, all those bosses are crowding there with you. It's hard to see where you're going when you run your own business. You take that tiny little car on a winding mountain road, which is the marketplace. You keep banging into the guardrails, you keep hitting the potholes, and what's worse, when you have your own business, your spouse is in that car with you, actually, except they're in the back seat, turned around and blindfolded. If you don't know where you're going, they have absolutely no idea where they're going. So it's been difficult in many parts of the country over the last 5 years. Who's ready for it to be over? Right? I mean, it's been pretty decent here, I hear, though, right? So when things were going badly, when I was a little boy, my mother always had these motivational sayings that were supposed to make me feel better. And raise your hands if you've heard any of these. Do what you love and the money will follow. Good things come to those who wait. How long do you have to wait, right? Failure is not an option. My mother told me that if I grew up and I became rich, people would think I was wise, people would think I was handsome, and they'd say, Barry, you can sing. And that's what it seemed like the first 10 years at IBM, where every year I got promoted, every year I made more money. It was here I learned that most business people in the United States take one of 3 paths to success. How many paths? How many? 3. Who said 1? 3, come on. 3 paths to success. First path to success, you guys all know about it. It's called something from nothing, right? You have an idea. You work really, really hard, and over a number of years, you gain great success, and then you donate all the money to the college, right? That's the entrepreneur's dream, right? That's what Gary did, right? And it's great because we love it because it's the land of opportunity in America. No matter where you start, the idea is you can get there. Path number 2 is what I call the great comeback. You have some miserable failure, but during this failure, you have some keen insight that propels you to great success. And finally, path number 3 is what I call the rich get richer. It's the punchline to the old joke that goes, how do you make $100 million? You start with $50 million. Or I guess these days, how do you make $100 million? You start with $200 million, right? I was watching last week a television special, and it was about a billionaire who was talking about how he had made his billions of dollars. And he said that when he was a little boy, he used to go to the market with his grandfather. And he used to buy an apple for 5 cents. He used to bring it home and shine it up really nice and new, brought it back to the market, and sold it for 10 cents. He saw how much profit he had made. This time he bought 2 apples, brought them home and shined them really, really nice so they looked wonderfully new, brought them back to the market, and sold them each for 10 cents. He did this a couple more times, and then his grandfather died and left him over $1 billion. That's the rich get richer. And we love these stories because sometimes they're even true, right? So who's an example in the United States of something from nothing? Example. Andrew Carnegie, right? Well, any recent examples? Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Michael Dell, Richard Branson, Carlos Slim, right? There's a lot of them. What about the great comeback? Any Harry Potter fans here? J.K. Rowling, she was on welfare, right? She's in the coffee shop, she's writing Harry Potter, rocking her child to sleep, and now she's got more money than the Queen of England. What about Simon Cowell fans, X Factor, American Idol? Do you know he actually went bankrupt? Had to move back in with his parents? How much fun could that have been, huh? And then his last season of American Idol, he made $7 million. And of course, who is the poster child for the rich get richer in this country? Who is? I'm sorry, this is going to be funny, but I can't hear it. Who's the poster child? No, not really. Who's the poster child for the rich get richer? No. No, because Oprah really started from nothing. Donald Trump, right? Who said Donald Trump? So how did Donald get all his money? He didn't steal. Yeah, he inherited from his father, Fred Trump. He had a bunch of this real estate. So I was flying down the airplane, and in the American Way magazine, there was an article that said, How to Get Rich by Ivanka Trump. I think that article had like one sentence in it, right? Have Donald as your father. But we love these stories, again, because sometimes they're even true, right? That's why we're always looking for the 7 steps to success, right? We want to see if we can follow exactly what these people did so we can get to the financial wealth they did. That's why there are so many books out there that have numbers in their titles. Raise your hands if you've read these books. The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. Wow, Deepak's going to be upset. All right, what about The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey? All right. What about The 7 Highs of Effective Habits written by Lindsay Lohan and Charlie Sheen? You know, when my publisher wanted me to write a book with a number in its title, I said, hey, here's the one thing you got to do if you're going to be successful. However, I don't believe there are 7 steps to success. However, I do believe there are 2 things that all financially successful people have in common. How many things?
2.
I don't get any higher than 5, so it should be pretty easy. 2 things. Guys ready? The first one is luck, and the second one is timing. Has anybody ever asked you, would you rather be lucky or would you rather be good? How do you answer? I'd rather be lucky, right? Because I'm lucky, it seems like I'm good. Did you ever know someone that was kind of stupid and jerky and made a boatload of money? Doesn't that just piss you off? You know, that used to get me really angry till I heard a great quote from a French dramatist. His name is Jean Cousteau, and this is what he said. He said, we must believe in luck, for how else can we explain the success of those we don't like? I don't want to pretend that financial success is all about luck and timing. Certainly you have to work hard, certainly you have to spread your risk, but sometimes we don't get to the pot of gold if it's not for luck and timing. All right, so what am I going to help you with tonight if I can't give you the 7 steps to success? I actually think that in order to be successful in this world, you don't talk about your success at all, ever. What you do is you honor your failures. When I left IBM in 1990, my mentor at the time was a guy named Tom Leaptag. And I remember the day I left, Tom stood there and he said, Barry, you're a pretty good business person, but you'll be a better business person when you have failed. You've had way too much success here at IBM. Every year you got promoted, every year you made more money. And you see, I thought that Tom was just jealous. You see, here I was leaving IBM. It was a great opportunity for me. I was going to make double in my new job. In fact, they were going to give me my own office. I was going to have a teak wood furniture desk, a dark high-back green leather chair. I was going to have my own assistant, I remember. Her name was Denise. I was excited. I didn't realize that Tom was foretelling my future of the next 5 years as I was fired from that job a year later. And as we talked about earlier, I went out of business in my first business adventure, and I was kicked out of business in my second business adventure. I learned a very important lesson. I learned that I could fail too.